Hello everybody, this is Toys R Us, and for this new figure unboxing and review we're going to be looking at the Studio Series Gamer. This is the Voyager class at number 4 Megatron figure. So what we're going to do with this video, we're going to unbox him live in a second, have a look at the entire contents of the packaging. We'll have a detailed look at him in both of his modes, help you decide how you want to display him. We will of course do some comparisons and see how he displays with the other figures that have been released in this same toy line. Unfortunately though, I do not have the original of this figure, so I can't do a comparison with that, but I've got an abundance of other Megatrons that we can have a look at as well. So on the front we've got, again, look at this beautiful, I'm going to say artwork, but it is of course how he appears in the Fall of Cybertron game. He looks spectacular. It's an open box there. This guy looks pretty big, to be fair, inside there. There he is on the side. I'm loving the joypad which they're putting up there. A very clever idea, and we can see he's going to take 22 steps to transform. So as I start to open this up, I'd like to remind anybody who's not subscribed to this channel, if you'd like to hit that subscribe button for me now please. And the other is to thank Robot Recruits, the online store in which I purchased this from, and they got him to me nice and safely. Right, so here we go. Let's bring this out of the packaging, and to be fair, that's looking to be quite a big Voyager class figure. That looks great. So what I obviously need to do right now is set him free from there, come right back to you with some first impressions. Okay then, so I've set him free from the packaging and it's time for some first impressions. One thing I do want to say is that I've noticed with these figures is they all seem to have really stiff joints, so which isn't obviously a bad thing. Figure itself though looks really good. If anything, and maybe being a little bit pedantic, I think the head now, when I'm looking at him with the rest of the figure, looks perhaps just a little too small, but it's still got some lovely detail on it. It does it go all the way around? Oh yeah, maybe just because mine's tight, but I think it's, again, it is slightly restricted. It's got a little look up and down, I think it seems to be, but it does go all the way around. The shoulders come all the way out to the side. They do go all the way around. They don't get restricted, which is good. There's a swivel at the bicep. There's a bicep flexion. There is a wrist. Is there a wrist swivel? Let's have a look. No, there's not. You can see that's just going to fold in there for the transformation process. There is a waist swivel. There is, maybe you can call that an ab crunch. I wouldn't really, but because of course it's the hips moving, and you can kick this all the way up, all the way back. That's a huge amount of range of motion. There is a knee. Yeah, that's, wow, that is super stiff. That's scary. I thought I was going to break it then. Ankle tilt and rock, again, these are really stiff, and the reason why I found that out is because these were packaged with the toes and feet down, so as soon as I pushed him up I could just feel like a lot of resistance, which, you know, isn't a negative thing. The accessories as well look great. We've obviously got an arm cannon. That's some lovely sheen on that black paint job there, and then this huge axe as well. So this is looking really good. What we're going to do for the rest of the video though, we're going to have a look at him in his alternate mode before coming back for the final time, seeing him in this mode with all of his accessories attached, and of course doing the obligatory comparisons and bringing in the rest of the figures from the same toy line. So let's have a look at him in his alternate mode. Okay, so we're back and he's in his alternate mode. Apologies, no transformation process on this video. That is to keep the main length of the video down. However, I have uploaded a tutorial for you which you can watch if you want to, or if you want to have the surprise for yourself when you first get the figure, you've got that as well. So it's up to you. Now, to be honest, this alternate mode, it's just a little bit underwhelming. And I mean, it does look a little bit better with the accessories, which I'm going to show you in a second. But I'm sure you'll agree. I think that's the best word that I can use for it. I didn't play the game, so I'm a little bit, it's not biased, but I suppose I can see what they're trying to do. Is it a tank? Is it a hovercraft? But if I'm being brutally honest, I'm a little bit disappointed with the fact that it is a Voyager class, but it just doesn't really feel like it. I did initially think that it looked quite big as robot mode when I unpackaged it, but now I'm looking at it, I don't really think so. The positive things about it is you can see there we've got the reflective silver and some different gunmetal greys. So the colour scheme on it tends to work really well. These, unfortunately, whether they're, you know, tank tracks or whether they're boosters for, I believe it could also hover in the game maybe, you know, they don't do anything. They're just fixed, they're just fused, and yeah, they don't really do anything. I mean, thankfully when you attach the accessories, which I'm going to do right now, it does look a little bit better. I'm just making sure that I'm putting it the right way around. Yep, that looks a little bit more like a tank. But then the problem with this is, and you know, maybe I'm being nitpicky, maybe I'm being overly picky. I think you let me know in the comments, guys, what you think as well. It doesn't move. You can't move the turret, you can't adjust it. It doesn't come off. That's a shoulder joint in there. So if I lift that up, I'm literally going to snap one of the shoulder joints off. So you can't do that at all. Now, whether or not this is just for weapon storage or because it actually does make it look loads better, I do think that looks really, really good. But still, you know, what is it? It's just really difficult. I just think it perhaps could have been a lot better. I mean, I've just noticed, funnily enough, that there's another 5mm port under there. So will that... I don't know, let's have a look. Let's see if we can make this just a little bit more interesting and have a play with it. I think I'm a little bit, I suppose if I'm being honest, if you think of, you know, the standards that we've had from some of the Studio Series figures recently, they just seem to be a little bit better than this. Maybe I'm being overly picky, I don't know. But I don't seem to, you know, I'm not really getting that feeling from it. With regards... As I say, it is a Voyager class figure, but there's a deluxe drag strip, which is just as big, to be honest. It's only the fact they've got the accessory on there. I've got a really cheap Rise of the Beast Bumblebee there, which is about as big as well. I've got the other Gamer figures in a second I'm going to be bringing in robot mode, but yeah, to be honest, I'm a little... That's the best word I can use. I'm underwhelmed by this alternate mode. What are we going to do? I'm going to put him back in his robot mode and then see. In fact, before we do that, let's put him up on this. Let's see if he actually fits. No. Just these stands, again, they just... I suppose if I said do my head in, that might be a bit strong, but I'm really starting to not see the purpose of these. I wish they'd just either do away with them, put the money into extra accessories or extra paint apps, or do the same thing what they did with the Netflix. Although it was cheaper cardboard, but obviously have better cardboard. But what I'm saying is take the same idea, take the same concept, and have a huge diorama that you can build together, which to me would be much, much better. Anyway, sorry for moaning. Let's have a quick look at him again and do some comparisons in his robot mode. Okay then, back for the final time with him in his robot mode. So let's have a quick look at how we can use his accessories, and of course show you the gimmick that you can take his arm off, which I didn't show you in the first part. But very quickly, just so I can get rid of this again, let's put him with his backdrop behind him. And if you want to pose yours like that, it looks reasonable. But it, you know, as I say, doesn't really do it for me. Let's move this out of the way then for now. So the gimmick that these had, and this one has as well, is that you can take, I think, is it the right arm on them all? Let's just bring in Barricade. Funnily enough, well, Barricade's there. Look at the size difference. There's not much at all between them two. And yeah, that was the gimmick. You can take their arms off, and if you take the arms off, then you can attach, I believe it's any of their weapons, because they've all got this 5mm port. So what we can do is we can pop Barricades on there if you wanted to, which, well, it does sort of fit, but it does come off. Obviously we can attach Megatron's cannon, which makes him look, I don't know, that just doesn't work for me. I hate being negative about figures, but that just doesn't really work for me. Thankfully, it's not it definitely wouldn't be a way that I would choose to display him. This, does that fit on there? Does it? You'd think it would. Let me have a quick look. Maybe not, because it's a brand new figure and it's really stiff. No, that is not going to fit on there, unfortunately. But so yeah, it looks like you can attach it either way, but to be honest, again, it's just really not working for me. That's the gimmick anyway. I suppose let's have a look at some of the other figures that we can have a quick go at it with. So Bumblebee's is tiny, so it's no use. Let's bring Prime's in. Prime's is huge, so this would probably, I would gather, look a lot better. Let's have a look at this then. So how ironic this would be if Optimus Prime's ends up looking better on Megatron than Megatron's actual cannon, which I think it actually does. That's crazy. There you go. That looks all right, but again, that's not how I'm going to be displaying this particular figure. I'm going to take this off. It's quite stiff, to be honest, and just popping that on there. I'm going to bring all these in a second. Let's just move them out of the way, because there's something else, and unfortunately it is a little negative that I did want to say, that after transforming him back into his robot mode, I'm just really not happy with this knee joint. At the beginning of the video, I thought it was because it was really tight and I didn't want to break it, but I've had a proper look and it's restricted there by this tab. It will not go any further back, so he's got really limited articulation, and it is quite clunky. I think this figure is okay. I think if it was a deluxe class, it would be perfect. I think that's what I've come to realize. I think my issue with it could be the fact that the size of it is just, for a Voyager, I don't think it, yeah, I just don't think it what's the word I'm after, commands that sort of price, which is price tag, which I think I'm just being really honest with. It's not a bad figure. I think because it is a Voyager, I think if it was a deluxe, it would be priced much better. Perhaps it didn't need this giant axe, which again really makes it look so much better, but perhaps it didn't really need the giant axe to go with it, and perhaps it could have been, who knows, it could have been a deluxe. Unfortunately, as I said, I don't actually have the original 2010 version of this, so I can't do a straight up comparison. You can pop that there, which again doesn't look too bad. It's just a way of storing his accessories. But let's bring in the others. So let's bring in the other Decepticon. I actually liked this. I know this one got a lot of flack, to be fair, but this one I did really like. I'm just going to put all the weapons back so I don't lose them. I did really like Barricade. I think because he just seemed so new and so like something I'd never seen before, even though he is a pain in the bum sometimes to stand, which you can see there. Bumblebee again was okay. He's just small. Whether or not he's an improvement on the actual mold of the original, I don't really know. I think the legs perhaps a little too small. I do like the concept of these particular figures, but I just think at the moment that perhaps they're not working. I think if they released, you know, a really good Bruticus, perhaps then it would look even better. So let me get the rest. Let me just bring Prime in. Prime is the biggest one, and I suppose in my opinion at the moment, even though he's got them ridiculous huge visible hands in alternate mode, he's my favorite so far. Then I think closely followed, to be honest, by Barricade. I have got still got Cliff Jumper to review, but of course he's just a redeco of that. I like Prime. This Megatron for me though, he's not a bad figure. As I said, I just don't think that he fully warrants the price tag on which they've put him at. I do genuinely think they've put it there because of the huge axe that he's got, which again I do like, so it's not too bad. But let's put it into context. This is Voyager class Bludgeon, who's a bit taller, a bit wider, and again has more accessories. So I suppose when you put it next to that, it sort of brings it into context. I suppose another great one which brings it into even more context is, so all of these are Voyagers and they're all the same price, so I'm not going to say much more on that because it really does sound like I'm, you know, going in on this figure. It's okay. It's not the greatest. There's a huge difference there. Let's bring in some G1 figures just for a bit of size comparison, and then I'm going to finish up with a few of the other figures from the very near to it toy line anyway. So from Legacy, that's a small deluxe figure anyway, and then we've got some core class figures as well. So at the moment, I think it's just because it's the weakest. I think I was expecting perhaps quite a bit more, and because again I didn't have the original one, so I was expecting quite a bit more. However, it's not all bad. I just think it's perhaps the weakest of the lot so far, and I think that's all there is to really say about him. I think he's going to take up a lot of space on the shelf. I would love to display him like this. I do think he looks great with that. And I think that's pretty much, as I say, it. Let me know what you think of him in the comments. Again, I was quite late to getting him, so let me know if you've got one, or let me know if you are planning on getting one. Anyway, this is Studio Series Gamer Megatron. Let me know what you think of him in the comments.